So before wading into sliders and showing you all the simple controls and the way to create sliders, I thought it better to give you a quick overview of the kinds of sliders and the features of them that you can create and the effects that are really easy to produce. What better way of doing that than by demoing them on a website? If we look at this really cool massage service website, then straight away the slider at the top of the page jumps out. But let me point out a few features that may not be immediately initially obvious. So firstly, the slider is actually sitting behind the navigation bar, and a level of transparency has automatically been added to that green bar to let some of the image itself come through. The slider bar is actually full width, whereas the content beneath it is constrained within the central band. The slider itself is free to roam across the entire page. Now on this slider, you'll probably notice that although it's a slider, the images are actually fading between images rather than sliding. And on this slider, the navigation option is a couple of little white navigation arrows and buttons. But if we look at a different page on the same website, we can see that this slider is slightly different in that although it's still full width, firstly it's actually sliding like a slider. The navigation buttons are slightly different. They're black on a white background, and the bullets, the navigation bullets underneath it, are outside of the image. And finally, if we look at a third option, again on the same website, we'll see that this slider is actually also constrained, so it's the same width as the content beneath it, and it's slightly deeper, so the actual depth of the slider can change as well. So far we've looked at sliders that are at the top of the page, but if we look at a different example, we can see here this slider bar is actually within the content itself. Now, although we're covering this type of slider under the heading of sliders, in actual fact this is just an image gallery that has been styled to look like a slider. And although we'll briefly discuss this in later videos, in actual fact it's one of about 7 or 8 different image gallery layouts that you can add. If we flick over now to a different website, on this example we'll see that text is not only on the slider bar, but if you roll your mouse over you'll see that what we have here is a clickable button. The text that rolls over the image on the slider bar is animated. It can roll in from the bottom or from the side, and the size and the position of the text can all be adjusted. So although there are a lot of differences between all these slider types, the one thing that they all have in common is the quality of the images. In our case, we're displaying stock images that cost between £2 to £5 each from a company like Fotolia or Big Stock, and the results are spectacular. So if you add big, high quality images, then you can expect stunning results. But if you add low resolution images taken on a shaky mobile phone, then don't be surprised if the sliders don't look anywhere near as good as these. Well, that's the background covered, so stay tuned and we'll go through the creation of image sliders.